Hi, I'm James Pratt. Welcome to Mogul Live for another week. We've got a terrific guest coming into the chat today. Casting director Kathryn Courtney-Prior, who's actually the head of casting for Yaplat. So I'm just going to pin this in the post just before we get underway, guys, just so anyone who's joining can get an idea about who we're talking to and what obviously the chat's going to be. Hey, Andrew, good to see you in the chat. We're just going to pin this. Tash has joined in. Good to see you, Tash. Yaplat is just Kathryn's just joined in the chat. Kathryn, I'm just going to add you in. We're just waiting for the connection to jump in with Kathryn. Again, Yaplat Casting. Hey, Kathryn, good to see you.
Hi, how are you?
Really well, thanks. We've got quite a few people joining the chat. Andrew's just said hi. Welcome to Mogul Live.
Hello, thank you. I've got a bit of a head cold, so you'll have to excuse my croaky voice today.
No, that's fine. That's fine. It's great to be chatting with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, what I thought I'd sort of do, just for anyone who's going to join the chat, we're talking with Kathryn Courtney-Prior, Yaplat casting director. Maybe just have a bit of a chat about how you got into the industry and your career with casting, and then how casting's taken you as a casting director into Yaplat.
Okay, great. That's a full 20-minute conversation there, probably. But I'll just start off by saying that Yaplat's a performer search platform. So lots of different countries have got these platforms around. The difference with Yaplat is that we are aiming to be global. We're a startup. We've been going for about 18 months. So, gosh, how did I get into casting? You often don't find casting director jobs, like on job search sites next to human resource managers and, I don't know, bank accountants and stuff, but that's exactly what happened to me. Really interested in the arts a long time ago, about 15 years ago, and went for a job interview at a casting director consultancy, and I didn't actually even really know what casting consultants were or did. And I got the job and fell in love with it from then. Have worked on an Australian TV show as a casting associate and worked on like thousands of TV commercials. And after doing that for about 12 years, I wanted to see where I could move to next. And I contacted a company called Talent Pay, who are in Australia and New Zealand. And kind of like what the name says, Talent Pay pays actors once they've been in TV commercials. And I reached out to them to see maybe... I reached out to them to see maybe what maybe they might have that was available, and they said that they were starting up Yaplat. So it's like I said, a performer search platform. Talent agents can set up accounts for free, and their actors or models and freelance actors, models, and influencers, musicians, whatever, can create free profiles. And casting directors or production houses, whoever's looking to cast performers in their projects, can create a casting brief and get applications. So it's really exciting, and I'm learning a lot and getting to meet lots of people from around the world, which is really exciting as well.
And it's a global casting platform, isn't it?
Yeah. It started off with Southeast Asia. In Australia, we've got a couple of these sites, but they don't go elsewhere. It's only in Australia, New Zealand. And then there's none of these platforms in Southeast Asia, in Singapore, Thailand. So especially because that's such a tight community where the advertising agencies in Singapore, they'll be shooting on the beaches in Indonesia or Thailand. And so we thought we'd start something up for that. And then we realized it was such a great idea and the world is getting smaller and smaller, we would just extend that. So yeah, why not? Why not go global?
Exactly. Well, I think you said it before as well, which is the world's getting smaller and smaller. I think people are getting more and more connected, and more than ever with technology. I mean, casting is something that's going to be more. It's only going to continue, you'd think, to get more and more connected. I had two good questions just came up in the chat. One is, where is the majority of the castings or the people that are using your platform at the moment?
Because we've spent the last 18 months, 2 years focusing on Australia and Southeast Asia, that's where a lot are. This year we've been contacting agents in Kenya, South Africa. I had a casting call from South Africa go up last week. It was always a quick turnaround for a soft drink, but it was actually, because we're in these new COVID times, it was actually a worldwide casting brief, because there was no auditions. There were just tapes sent in via Skype, WeTransfer, that type of thing. And so it truly was a global casting, where one of the girls that was shortlisted, her and her partner were from Singapore. So I've got quite a lot from Singapore, Indonesia. But yeah, just working my way around the countries, getting people.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah. And the other question I got that came through, which was a really good question, which was, are you guys working with the music industry for castings as well?
That's not something that we've particularly focused on yet, but I mean, casting calls these days can come in any shapes and sizes, you know, so it's really handy to have musicians on the site. Yeah, influencers, yeah, all different types of people.
Fantastic. Well, with your own career, and again, anyone that's just joined us, we're talking with Kathryn Courtney-Prior, Yap Black casting director. Now, you've cast thousands of commercials, TV shows. You've worked right across the board. Is there any one or two stories that have kind of stuck out for you, or anything that you'd like to talk about?
I think in regards, well, I just think that actors are really super amazing, because every time, like, I've been for half a dozen job interviews in my life, you know, over the last 20 years. But for an actor to have to do that 4 times a day, or once a month, or once every 2 months or something, that's just pretty amazing to me. I've seen some pretty fantastic auditions. I can think of one that Lindsay Farris did for an All Saints episode, which just kind of, sometimes they can just blow your mind. And another one that I can think of was an Aldi TV commercial, which I don't know if everyone would know who they are, but they're a supermarket commercial. But we had to have the actors crying over the fact that they didn't have this latest washing machine or whatever. But the fact that these actors could come into a 5-minute audition and just start the tears, you know, I always have so much respect for that, because I couldn't do it. It's an amazing skill, and it's amazing that people just can go out there and just put themselves into, whether it's a supermarket audition or a TV show audition or a film audition, you know, like, not knowing where it's going to take them. So I think that's pretty brave. So.
Yeah. Is there any stories which is like the world's worst auditions that you've seen an actor come in and done something that you've just gone, I can only dream that would happen?
No, I can't think of any world's worst, but it's always disappointing if someone comes in and says that they haven't been sent the script, or they haven't learnt the script, when we know that they've been sent the script. So yeah, not necessarily world's worst, and I wouldn't dob anyone in any way, but you can just have those disappointing moments where, because for casting sessions generally, you've only asked for 15 people for a role. So if somebody doesn't do their best for that audition, you know, they've taken away that opportunity for somebody else to do a really great job and have that chance. So, yeah.
Hey, Angela, good to see you in the chat. Now, I'm just going to circle back, if this makes sense, just because we've had a question come through with soundtrack, and I'm just going to see if I can sort of ask the question. This is it. Drip BBQ 916 wants to ask is, with Yaplat, are you looking for, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong with the question, but are you looking for soundtrack music? Are you looking for casting, actual background music, soundtrack with Yaplat, or is it all to do with actor and talent?
Yeah, actor and talent. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So if anyone wants to find Yaplat, how would they get involved?
We've got yaplat.com. So that's our website, or somehow on here you'll be able to link through to my Instagram. We're on Facebook as well. And it's free for actors, talent, anyone in front of camera, actors, talent, influencers to create a profile. It's free for talent agents to create a profile. And currently at the moment, it's free for people looking for performers. So what we refer to as clients, which would be other casting directors, advertising agencies, production houses, to create a profile to then find people to be in their campaigns.
Okay, so pretty simple. So just go to the site and then you can sign up for free.
Yeah.
Hey, Ava, good to see you in the chat as well. Ava's a talented actress that I actually did a film with. Look out for her, young actress. Andrew, he's got a question come in. Is it a requirement to have experience as an actor when you sign up to Yaplat?
No, not at all. Because with so many things these days, it's looking for personality, maybe a skill, maybe you're a barista, or maybe they're looking for real families to be in a TV commercial. So no, you don't have to have any experience. That's fine. Yeah.
What about sort of having like a headshot or even an actor show reel? Is that sort of something that you have to have for the site?
No, you just have to have a clear photograph of yourself, so no filters. If you can do something that's kind of like headshot, mid-shot, and long shot, that's fantastic. Get somebody else to take a couple of snaps of you on their phone. And it's not necessary to have a show reel. If you had something like just a talking head, like, hi, my name's Kathryn, I'm 40 and I'm a barista by day and, you know, do acting classes by nighttime. Like, if it's as simple as that kind of little intro, then that's really helpful for us too. And you can upload up something like 10 photos and videos onto Yaplat. And I think that could be a really great way, not to have a show reel as such, although that's fantastic as well. And you can link to Vimeo or whatever on the CV page. But you could have little video clips or media clips, because I feel like media libraries are a bit more what casting directors are looking at these days, rather than like a 3-minute cram everything in you've done into a film montage. That's great, but that's a bit more like when you had to send out your VHS or your DVD to casting directors and you wanted to get the most for it, most bang for your buck.
Sure.
Whereas with these online platforms, I think it does give you the opportunity more to have, 3 comedy reels, 3 comedy pieces, 3 drama pieces, and kind of separate those out a bit more on these platforms.
From a casting agent's perspective right now, because obviously casting shifted quite a bit with the coronavirus, but also just streaming services and Hollywood's had a lot of change lately. What is a good show reel for an actor then? Because you kind of touched on it then. If I was going to make my profile, or I'm an actor and I want to sort of show you, the casting director, what I can do as an actor, what would you recommend? Would you recommend like one sort of hype reel? Would you recommend, like you said, just small clips with different genres? What would you recommend?
I can only speak for myself, so other different casting directors will have different preferences, and if you've got an agent, they'll be able to tell you who likes what. But yeah, I think it's really just, shorter clips, no music montage at the beginning of you running through the street. And I mean, like, none of that helps us really. It's real, and it doesn't need to be professional. Like, it doesn't need to be from a professional show if you don't have anything like that yet. It can be you in front of a blank wall on your phone, because there's such amazing quality these days. And just reading with someone one of your favourite scenes. I'm a part of the Casting Guild of Australia, and we have just finished doing a self-tape initiative, and we've had something like 3,000 submissions over the last couple of weeks of people just doing at-home self-tapes. And, that's great. Some of the quality hasn't been fantastic, but it can show a casting director a walking, talking version of you, and that's what we really need to see.
Can you talk a little bit more about that initiative? What was that involving?
Well, we just realised, and I think that this is one of the beauty of social media as well, but we had, over 3 weeks, we had different age group sets, and got everyone to send in, and it had to be a self-tape that they recorded that week during Australia's lockdown. And
Sure.
And we had like 3,000 people submit to it, so it was pretty crazy. It was pretty awesome.
Was there like a prize at the end, or was it just to get yourself in front of a casting director, or what was?
It was mainly just to kind of give the performers and actors in Australia a bit of something to do and a bit of hope that, you know, once casting gets started back up again, which it is getting slowly started here in Australia, because our COVID cases are very low, that, you know, that we would have this library to look back on, discover some new actors, people that we haven't maybe looked at before, people that haven't had a video on their profiles that we've been able to click through. So, yeah, it was really interesting. We had good feedback from it. So.
Yeah, it sounds a great initiative. So just sort of circling back to casting in general, how do you see the casting process now in the future post-coronavirus? What do you think the changes are going to be from a casting agent's perspective?
I don't know. I think there'll be some people that always love the in-room casting, and so they'll just kind of go back to that as quickly as they can. But I think that self-tapes will be accepted a lot more. I mean, casting, it's always, who can you see tomorrow? You know, like it's always such a huge turnaround because pre-production will get pushed back, and so it's casting that will kind of then get squeezed. So I think that the main thing with casting directors and self-tapes is that sometimes the performers or the actors don't have the setup. But I think that we'll be able to prove that from the self-tapes that we've been receiving that you're okay to do that. So with a little circle light that you can get from eBay with people's phone qualities, it'll definitely have some positives, and that's how casting will continue. But some people still love the drive. Sure. Some people love the drive-in, the hype, the sitting in the waiting room. So casting directors, obviously, that's what we love. Like, we love being in the audition room and getting to work with actors. So I don't think we're ever going to take that away.
I think you sort of said it before. I think like some people will get used to just getting a lot of self-tapes from home, and that's quite easy. Like labor-wise, that's a lot easier than being in the room for the whole sort of day. But then it is a different beast rather than being in the room. Let me ask you this with Yaplat. So obviously anyone can sign up, do a profile, yaplat.com. What advice would you give to try and increase your chances of getting a job? If you're an actor and you sign up on the platform, is there any advice you'd give?
Fill in your profile as much as you can. So if you can have at least those 3 different photographs, which is close up, mid, and then length, that's fantastic. If you can fill in like your current location, we've even got a line there for real jobs. So like I've mentioned a couple of times, if you are a barista or a bar manager or a doctor, we were casting, like I said, when I first started casting, we were working on a TV show, an Australian TV drama called All Saints. And whenever we met anyone with medical experience, whether it was a real life nurse, podiatrist, vet, we would be like, great, because that medical jargon is so hard to, just get to roll off the tongue and feel natural. So whenever we met someone with that, real life experience, would always remember. If you can upload video clips of show reels or just even a 20-second casting. Sorry, I just got distracted. What about computer nerds? Yes, computer nerds. Yes.
Was very
sign up. We want you. And skills as well. So if you really can ride a horse, if you really can scuba dive, fantastic. That's stuff that we need to know. Not that you've been scuba diving once or that you're like me, did a scuba diving course 20 years ago and haven't gotten back in, but still carry the card around in your wallet because you haven't cleaned it out yet. But that's all really handy stuff for everyone to know. And that was, we can do searches on that as well to find people.
Sure. Yeah. With what you've seen with Mogul's platform or Mogul's community, is there anything that stood out with what Mogul's doing that's similar to Yaplat as far as going more digitally or connecting actors right around the world?
Yeah, I think the community, being able to see what other people are up to, seeing what profiles people have got up there. I think that's all really important. And again, it's making this huge world just that bit smaller, and bringing us all together, and you can make connections and see what films are being made and meet directors and producers and people on set. So one of the questions on my Yaplat page yesterday, we had a tile going up saying, what's some advice or what did you learn the first time on set? And it was like, get to know other people. So I think kind of creating that community is so important. And while you're waiting for auditions from casting directors, the best thing that you can do is then create your own work. So by introducing yourself to a DOP or to the best boy or, whatever, you're meeting people and they'll be in your minds too when they're working on a film that they want to get you
Yeah,
on.
you can start to piece together your own work a lot easier. One of the things that, which Mogul and I, or sorry, rather Mogul has been very aware of is obviously post-coronavirus, is that everything is becoming much more localized as far as post-coronavirus. Some countries around the world, their currencies dropped a lot. So in Hollywood, it makes a lot more sense to shoot, for example, in Australia when the dollar dropped, 56 cents to all of a sudden trying to restart a project in Los Angeles. Or there's that opportunity if you're connected by a community to get into more work. It doesn't have to be you're trying to do a casting just in your area. Ren's joined the chat. Alfred's joined the chat. Guys, we're talking with Kathryn Courtney-Prior, Yaplat casting director. Any questions, feel free to put them through the chat anytime. Andrew's already mentioned about, do you cast computer nerds? Any question is great for Kathryn. What about when you're doing a self-tape at the moment? Because there's obviously a lot more due to the coronavirus. Is there any one tip you'd give for anyone doing a self-tape to try and stand out or get the job?
I think just make sure that sound is okay.
Just the sound.
The sound, yeah, that's the most important thing, and your lighting. So you don't need to have anything professional. We just need to be able to hear you and to be able to see you, and it needs to be the quality that we can then show the director or the producer of the project, and for them not to get distracted by the low quality. So I think that's something that probably turns people off accepting self-tapes before. So yeah, that's what we need just to keep in mind now.
How does, this is a question that's come up quite a bit, is some people they get like a good self-tape casting and they'll go and they'll get someone professionally to do, or at least to be the reader, and there's a lot of different places that do it, and they'll get it almost not professionally done, but it'll be, done well. The other person simply goes out and just with their iPhone, like you said, they shoot it with their iPhone, lighting, sound is fine. It's obviously not the same quality. From a casting agent's point of view, does that ever make a difference when you've seen someone who's gone and got a really professionally done self-tape versus just the iPhone, or is it about the talent?
The talent. The first casting director I worked for, she'd always say the talent will out. And I've always remembered that. But in the end, it's really about your performance, and if you're right for the role and if you're right for the director, right for the project, right for the campaign, whatever it is that you're auditioning for. Maybe if it's an audition for the next Brad Pitt movie, like if it's something huge, you might want to go out and spend a bit of money on making sure that you've got, you're auditioning against an actor rather than your mum, or nothing against mums being readers, but but you might want to kind of up it. But in the end, the talent will out, and it's just your performance and what you can give to that character. And YouTube's a goldmine for being able to see, like Dacre Montgomery that was on Stranger Things. He's an Aussie actor, and his auditions are up on YouTube that you can watch, and they're fantastic. It's amazing, and it's just him in front of a blue screen, in front of a blue wall, but it's really the performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're almost out of time, so if anyone's got any questions, Kathryn Courtney-Prior, Yaplat Casting. One of the things I wanted to also ask for any actors that are in the chat at the moment is, how do you search for talent outside of submissions coming in? So is there anything that an actor can do to try and be scouted by a casting director?
I think that, you can invite your local casting directors to whatever you're on, theatre. But having, and that's a pretty standard way of getting seen by your locals. But taking advantage of Instagram now, I can really see the benefits of that, especially over the last couple of months. I feel like casting directors are a lot more accessible now because of social media, and you'll be able to follow them. You can see casting calls that they're putting out. Different casting directors, like I said, the CGA had the initiative for the self-tapes, but there's been hashtag casting crushes corona, and casting directors over this time, when they're quiet, which they normally aren't, have been looking and doing these different initiatives. So you get to meet casting directors from all over the world, and they get to meet actors from all over the world.
Sure.
So I think that you could probably, I've been thinking about this, you should probably, I think, have an Instagram page that's your actor page. If you want to have a social page, kind of lock that onto private as well as your Facebook. But then have your public Instagram page, using the hashtags. And you can put up, the fantastic thing is that you can put up different clips of, your acting up on there too. So we are using.
You as a casting director, you have been searching on Instagram for actors, just looking for talent.
Well, yeah. I'm not actively casting right now. I'm managing Yaplat, but to recruit actors onto the platform, I've just been following hashtags. So, Singapore model, African model, African actor. I've been following and then following the different hashtags that the different casting directors have been putting out. So yeah, I've been meeting actors that way and models that way, influencers, to get them onto Yaplat. But even me with my algorithms, I see all the ads that casting directors run trying to find actors to be in their campaigns and to audition for them. So I definitely think that Instagram is being used a lot more by casting directors. A lot of the time we don't have enough time to just sit on Instagram and search. But if it's something that really specific that we can't find, if it's that special skill, if it's a skateboarder, if it's a graffiti artist, that kind of stuff will be on there on Instagram too and social media, looking for people.
Sure.
Yeah.
We had a couple of really good questions came through. Angela had one question, which we're just circling back to your self-tape when you want to send it in. Do you need any sort of intro, or is it just basically your name, agent's details, and then just the raw? How would you say a good self-tape for a casting agent looks like at the beginning?
At the beginning, just go into your audition. Probably send through 2 that you're happy with. They're never going to be perfect, so don't agonize over it. And there's probably one thing that's different in the room, like you've got your 5 or 10 minute audition slot, so you just get in and you get out, and you can't agonize over it. Do 50 million takes at home and drive everyone mad. And then at the end, do a slate or an ID. So name, agent, if you're represented, and that you're available. Yeah.
And then with Yaplat, you don't actually need an agent. You can just put yourself up there. That's correct? Yeah. So you can put yourself as a freelance, or you can, and there's a message system through there. So then you'll get a message when a client has requested you, or you'll get an email from us when there's a casting call that suits you, whether it's location, age range, whatever. And then, or if you are represented, you can just type your agent name in there and we'll contact them instead. For anyone that's been on the chat today and they have a project, can they get that project cast through Yaplat? So they're not a talent, but they're making their own short film, feature film. Can they put that up on Yaplat? Yeah, sure. We prefer paid. We prefer paid, but if it is a short film, or if it's if you're also starting out, then you can definitely put a casting call out there and negotiate with the actor that you're interested in. Fantastic. Well, we're just about ready for one more question. If anyone's got a final question for Kathryn Courtney-Prior, Yaplat Casting. And again, if anyone wants to have a look at the Mogul platform, mogulproductions.com, you can sign up to the community there And there's a lot of synergy, I think, between what you're doing with Yaplat and obviously Mogul, which is we're bringing people together and obviously giving people a much better experience within the filmmaking process. So we've just got some great feedback from Adventures Ventures. Love the Yaplat quick tips. That's great feedback. And where can we, obviously for yourself, Kathryn, is there anything else that you'd like to share just with the community here, or anything else you'd like to add?
No, I can't think so. I don't think so. But yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for having me today, James. I don't do these very often, so.
So if anyone's just joining the last bit of the chat, Yaplat Casting, it's a platform online for actors. You can put your own project up there, which we just spoke about before. Ava's just put in, thank you. This was great. I have to go to school now. This was great advice.
Have a good day.
Yeah, have a great day, Ava. And for anyone that's looking at the Mogul platform, head to mogulproductions.com. Yeah. We'll have more Mogul Lives coming up. And thanks very much, guys, for tuning in this week. Thanks, Kathryn. Andrew's just said you're awesome.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yep. Keep Andrew in mind for any computer roles as well.
I will, yeah. Computer nerd.
Thanks very much, Kathryn. It was great to chat with you.
Thank you, James. Thanks for having me. Stay dry today.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Tristan, for the message there as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Tristan.
So, guys, just tune in for Mogul over the next couple of weeks. We have some really good guests coming in. David Cormack, an Emmy-nominated producer, is coming on. We have Lyric Bent. You would have known him from the Saw movies, coming on. And we have Emmy-nominated producer Cindy Cowan coming up at the end of the month as well. MogulProductions.com. It's been great to have a chat with you. And again, Kathryn, you've been terrific. Have a great day, guys.